All right, today we're going to talk about the legislative branch. The most important thing you need to remember about the legislative branch is that they are responsible for making the laws, and they represent their constituents in their home states, or at least they're supposed to. The House has 435 representatives, and the representation from each state is determined by the population of the state. So, for example, our state, Indiana, is worth there are 9 representatives from Indiana. Smaller states like Wyoming, Montana, Alaska have 1. Bigger states like California has 53. Those representatives travel from their state to Washington, D.C., and they meet in Capitol Hill, and they discuss and debate laws in committees normally, and then laws that make it out of committee are approved by the committee, go to the general House floor where they are discussed and debated, and if the Speaker of the House and other leadership wants to, they will take a vote on these laws. And if it passes, it goes up to the next level of our bicameral legislative branch, which is the Senate. The Senate, all states are equal. Each state has 2 representatives, 2 senators, and there are 100 total senators. If it passes that, then the law goes on to the president for approval or to be vetoed and is on the path to becoming a law. How do they determine how much population each state has? Well, every 10 years we have a census where we count the people in each state to see how much representation each state will receive. Leadership in the legislative branch, the Speaker of the House is elected by the majority party. So currently here in 2016, Paul Ryan is the Speaker of the House. He's the leader of the House of Representatives. He is a very powerful politician because he gets to set the agenda for what the House will vote on. The Speaker of the House will negotiate with senators and the President on what they need to get done or what they're willing to do. And right now, in 2016, the Republicans have the majority in the House of Representatives, so they got to select their fellow Republican, Paul Ryan from Wisconsin, to be the leader and Speaker of the House. In the Senate, the Vice President is the official leader. He or she has many other duties, so they are not there for the debates. Their only job is to break a tie if there's a 50-50 tie on a bill in the Senate to decide whether it was on the pathway to becoming a law or not. Currently, Joe Biden is the Vice President and also President of the Senate. There's Paul Ryan. He is the Speaker of the House. He sets the agenda for what will be discussed and voted on in the House of Representatives, and is also viewed as a leader of his party, the Republican Party. There is Joe Biden. He is looked on as a leader of the Democratic Party. He breaks ties, if there are ties, in the level of the Senate. On to the executive branch. Now, the executive branch has more freedom than the legislative branch in the Constitution, so presidents have more flexibility to do what they see fit in their job. Some people like that, some people don't. The executive branch is not just the president, it is headed by the president, but the president has many advisors who are experts in different fields, like education, transportation, war, defense, all those types of things to help the president make good decisions. The president is the most powerful elected leader in our country, and the president and the vice president are the only elected leaders that are supposed to represent the entire country. They are also looked on as being leaders of the entire world, and the rest of the free world tends to look to our president for leadership. The president has many, many responsibilities, from getting laws to be passed to negotiating with other countries to being a symbol and figurehead for our country as well, among many other things. Because it's such a big job and such an important job, there are high requirements to be president. You have to be 35 years old. You have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be a resident who have lived in the United States for 14 straight years. We have an election for the President of the United States every 4 years. A president can only, after 1951, a president can only be elected twice for 8 years total as president. Before that, presidents could be elected as many times as they wanted, but it proved problematic as we started to think about presidents being elected over and over again, which didn't happen very often, but that kind of gives them too much power. So it's kind of limit the power, get someone else in there. We will continue to talk about the executive branch in the next lesson, but those are the basic overviews of the legislative and executive branches.